Bam. Hey there. No, we don't need to. That's already done. For anybody that happens to be tuning in, I am recording an unboxing and a prep video for a Millennium Falcon model build. The Millennium Falcon model is from Bandai, actually from Bluefin at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, and I'm trying to negotiate with them to get the perfect scale 72, 1:72 model to do a full in-depth how to properly paint. We're gonna start with the 1:44. So this will be a lot of starting and stopping and playing with cameras and stuff, but you guys get to see what it looks like while I put one of these together. So I won't be doing a lot of talking to you, just like I won't be doing a lot of talking to much anybody but Rich, who's going to be the other part of my video.
Hi guys.
Okay, so how do you want to? Do you have a second camera? Do you want to set one up for overhead?
Yeah, you want to give me the solid? Here,
just throw it. It's a Nikon. I mean, I can understand why you throw it on the ground.
Zoom? How can you mess with the zoom?
Can you do me a favor and turn the broadcasting camera that way a little bit? Yep. Keep turning it, keep going. There you go. Now we're both. Yeah, I don't have a kid young enough. Actually, I do have a couple of kids young enough to be millennials. Thanks. But this is a model.
No, I don't know anything about this. They're like, what is this thing?
What is the Millennium Falcon? This is the Force Awakens version, so it's the Millennium Falcon. God, I just said that. I'm going to coin that phrase, the Millennium Falcon. How can you identify it? By the square radar dish.
Yeah. Is that original? That doesn't feel right.
The square radar dish is the one they used in The Force Awakens. Like when she finds it, it's because Lando knocked it off in the Return of the Jedi, so it was replaced, and it was replaced with that funky thing. So,
nice. All right.
So how do you typically do these?
So typically, I just give an intro to the camera, and I say in about 20 seconds what I'm going to do. Then I pause, and that allows me to put in an intro scene.
Okay.
And then I just say, all right, let's get right to it, or something like that.
Okay.
And then I just start going. And that gives, I can put a titles in there. I can put in like an intro video like you have.
Well, the top is all whoopied, so it's not flat, so I can't hold it in particular. Okay. Can you see it in your camera at all? Yeah. Can you see? Okay.
Now, I did take some photos of this.
Okay.
But I will, I think I will just go ahead and take video once you actually start opening it. I'll just take video of the whole thing. So after we pause to allow the intro video, then typically I would just open it, and what like my first couple, I went way too fast.
Okay, so
and then,
take time.
Yeah, so then I started watching people that get a lot of views, and I realized that the fans actually kind of want more detail.
Okay. Okay, so A-E-I-O-U. Today on the PropLogs, we're going to do an unboxing of the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars The Force Awakens, as identified by the square radar dish and the banding. Assuming that was the break. Right on. So this is the 1/44th scale Millennium Falcon from Bandai. They're one of the premier model makers in that they are the most detailed. So we're going to get right into it. The box will actually show you some of the more high-res, better looks that the model actually puts out. Like as you put it together, what you're going to get. Included with the model is also a sand scene. I'm assuming it's, I keep wanting to say Jakarta. Jakku, where...
oh yeah, because it's that scene.
Yeah, this is the square, the Ray Millennium Falcon, as much as it will always be Han Solo's Millennium Falcon. Spoiler alert, I've already had it open once because I got this at San Diego Comic-Con, and I put inside it the paperwork flyer for what I hope to be our next model, as I talk to Bluefin now, the perfect scale 1/72 Millennium Falcon. This one, when finished, is about a foot long. The perfect scale is twice this size, half this scale. At 1/72, it'll be about 2 feet.
So is Bandai the distributor and Bluefin is the...
Bandai is the maker of the model. Okay. Bluefin is the company that I spoke to at San Diego Comic-Con. They're the ones that sell the most of this stuff. You can find them at okay. most conventions. It's actually also available on Amazon. Like you can just go straight to Amazon and put in Bandai and get a breakdown of all of the videos. That, in fact, they've even got a scale of the size difference between the one we're building today and the 1/72. As you can see here, here's the 1/44, and then size-wise what the 1/72 would look like. Let's get right into the innards. Comes with the 2 clamshells. Being that this is the Force Awakens / Empire Strikes Back Return of the Jedi Millennium Falcon, not the original A New Hope Millennium Falcon. It has 5 landing gear on it instead of 3. Don't seem to see, it's got the break in the panel on the top where something clearly crashed through it. The panels themselves look really detailed. I may end up painting these before I assemble them because there's so many panel pieces on this, and it'll be really difficult to give it the proper, each panel is a little bit of a white different from the panel next to it so that it looks real. But the 2 clamshells, loads of tiny pieces, as you'd expect with a really high-res, really detailed model. Even the engine pieces are coming in multiple pieces. So the front forks or tines on the front.
What kind of glue do you like to use?
Personally, I go with the yellow-topped Gorilla Super Glue because it comes with a brush, and I can be much more exact with a brush than I can be like dabbing out little dots of glue and then smearing it all over. A lot of people like to use model glue with brushes, but I find that I end up just wasting brushes that way. Like I throw away a lot of brushes.
When I use the kind that don't have brushes, I just end up pouring it onto like a little plate using toothpicks to kind of dab it on.
Yeah, I did that for a long time as well. And the more experienced I get building models, the more control I want with the glue, because it only takes one little glob of glue in one strange place coming out of a seam of 2 panels, and it just kind of takes away from the look of the entire model. Back portion, the engine, they were great and poured that in a blue, the see-through clear of the ports, the up top and bottom gun ports, and the cockpit. I'm extra impressed that they poured color pieces on a gray template. Like that's amazing. Like did
they really pour it, or did they manufacture it and then put it together?
I can't tell if it's.
Like, it makes no sense to me.
I can't tell if it's clipped together or that's because there's no clips in there. It looks like they poured in this and then poured in the side colors on the side. But they look gorgeous. One last piece of panel pieces. under panel pieces that go underneath on the clamshells, the little pieces with all the details on them. This will be one of the first models that I use Rub and Buff on. Rub and Buff is actually a paint type that's sort of dry, so when you rub it rubs on the high portions of everything and leaves a weathered, roughed up, detailed look to it. I can even put people in the cockpit. It'll get Han Solo.
But it doesn't come with people?
It'll get Han Solo. Are there people? I want to be where the people are. There's the people.
There's people.
I'm a little disappointed I don't see Han Solo, and he wasn't dead until the last half of the movie. Spoiler alert.
Well, I'm sure you're just gonna paint him in a
It's got red.
Han-esque
Yeah.
color palette.
As far as I'm concerned, nobody flies the Millennium Falcon but Han Solo. Of course, the instruction manual on how to put together your handy. And because it's from Bandai, I will be polishing up on my kanji.
Hiragana and katakana, guys.
Yeah, there's a little bit of English in here, but not a lot. You can also add LEDs to this, so that you can light up the engine bay and light up.
Do they have recommended like wattage of?
I'm sure somewhere in there.
It's exact details.
I suppose we will have to look this up on the internet somewhere, because where's the mounting for the? Oh no, those are the side mounts. I'm sure that they will allow you because they gave you a clear see-through blue.
Sure. Yeah.
There they are. Those are the LED mounts so that you can light up the engine in the back too. And they tell you how to mount the LEDs so that they'll... And sold separately, so I will probably have to get on the internet and find somewhere where it's where I can buy the battery kit, because the battery kit mounts underneath here.
Yeah, so you can actually change out the battery. That's pretty cool to create something that has has a port for replacing batteries and stuff.
This much detail.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to put batteries in it. I will probably wire it right to the wall. Like, if it's going to sit back there, it's going to be lit up, it's going to be wired to an outlet, because changing batteries is a pain.
It is.
And I can probably even run the wire right up the stand, because they give you a nice little stand to... I could probably run the wire right up through there. Anyway, last but not least, wow, they give you stickers and water decals if you want to feel like you're back in 5th, 6th, maybe 7th grade.
Which do you prefer?
Oh, I prefer stickers. I don't want to smear this thing with a bunch of water. So, tune in soon, and we'll go through painting this, assembling this, weathering this, lighting this, and displaying it.
I guess.
Later. And yeah. LEDs. I was not expecting that. I know the 1 to 72 comes with LEDs. This thing comes with...
It's now
I'm excited. Like before, I was just like, I'll do the 1 to 72 so Bandai sees how good I can do this, and then they'll give me the big one. Now I'm like, God, I'm going to have to give this thing to somebody, because when I get the 1 to 72, that motherfucker is hiding in here.
It's going to be so big, though, you're probably going to want to hang it from the ceiling or something just to keep it out of your way.
So I found out that the guys that are doing the coffee tables with the Millennium Falcon in it, that is a 72nd scale Millennium Falcon.
Oh, okay.
So I might have to build myself a box that's a coffee table with the Millennium Falcon in it. So, yeah. Millennium Falcon intro is done.
Doing a switching from a battery. I have a AC adapter.
I'm going to turn the AC back on for a little bit.
Yep.
Because
I was surprised you turned it off. All we needed was
sound.
a little bit of quiet.
It's better without.
If it's better if you don't have to edit it out.
Yeah, but
So.
think doing a video showing people how to switch their battery-powered light-up model thing
To outlet?
to outlet, that's going to get a huge number of views, and it's going to do a service to so many people.
Yeah, I don't want to pull my model apart every couple of months to change it, and it would be nice to just plug it in and it's LEDs. They have a half-life of what, 50 years, 60 years?
Yeah, they get dim though. They have it's a exponential curve, so
Oh yeah.
so they won't stay as bright. Like when you first plug it in, you're like, wow, that's bright. That's not gonna.
It's not gonna stay that way.
It's not gonna stay.
Damn
that way.
it.
But I don't know if it's a problem.
Inside that tiny model, probably not that big of an issue. Okay, now on to the casting. Burp.
I think it's all him, and it's just if as he's talking, at least they can hear me and things.
I think I still have the base to that. I might not. I might have, in the haste of packing up, I might have pulled that handle apart. In which case I'll just pour another handle, or yeah, I'll just pour another handle.
For your handle?
Yeah, I had a handle to the knife. No, in clay. Yeah. I guess I'll just pour another handle. It'll be easier.
Another AC adapter or a cable that I can easily plug this into.
You can plug it right on the end of the bench.
I am using that edge. There's only one port available.
Well, then we will unplug something that doesn't need to be here. For example, or maybe everything does need to be. No, this doesn't need to be here. Burp. Okay. Clamps. Can you hand me one of the yellow clamps off of Otherberry?
Yellow.
The garden hose and the air hose are both hung on. So one of those. Thank you. Also, while I'm at it,
So, but you see more of what's like interesting stuff. Only a quarter of an inch, and instead you see more of what he's doing.
hey, I got a quick question for you. If they go to YouTube / PixelArts Props, are they going to get the live stream, or are they going to get a page that will also take them to the live stream?
Huh. I don't know. I don't do that on YouTube. So I'm the people that I watch. It tells me because I subscribe to them. I have watched people who live streamed and it showed up on their front page, and that was pretty cool. But I'm just not sure if it does or not.
Well, we can test it.
Yeah. Are you live streaming right now?
Yeah, it's live right now.
Well, you could check right now. Then you could just navigate in a browser that you're not plugged into. It's /C. YouTube.com/C/PixelArts Props.
Why the C?
I don't know. All the custom URLs are /C now.
Weird. No, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
So if you click that link. Then click on Customize.
Okay, it comes up at the top. All right, I'm satisfied with that.
Cool.
Okay, so
Peripheral.
huh?
I'm in the peripheral, so he has someone to talk to.
But you're in the picture.
I'm in the peripheral.
That did not work anything like I wanted it to. That'll be a stir stick. Are any of these drilled through yet? Maybe a smaller bit.
Do you just make sure every time you go to Home Depot to get more stir sticks?
Mm-hmm. Those and those buckets, they're the greatest thing ever.
Wait, are the buckets free?
They're $1. They're like 96 cents a piece.
I thought I was missing out, like, because I get the stir sticks.
Okay, so I'm drilling the holes in this so that I can create a mechanical lock on this.
Now, does it make sense to do both sides?
So when I created this particular knife, I did one half in my vise, like I clamped it into the vise, and I sculpted the handle first. So now I've got the handle finished. But sculpting the blade on top of the handle, you end up with a piece of clay that's like this big.
Okay.
So if you just do the handle, make sure you get the handle right, and you pour the handle, bam, now you've got a resin handle that you can sculpt the knife onto. And as long as you make the seam from the clay into the resin fairly seamless, you can then also pour the clay with the handle kind of touching the top of the silicone, and the clay's submerged. Pull the whole thing apart once it's dried, peel all the clay off, and now you've got a seat. You'll see the seat in the second half, where once you've poured the resin bottom, you put the empty stick into the next piece, and it just sits in the top of it because it was poured so that it's got like a cradle for it.
Okay.
So to get a better grip, to be able to hold and sculpt the handle better, or the knife better, I did them in two pieces rather than in a single solid pour. The mold I made is out of just a simple piece of PVC tube. This is Dragon Skin 30, their best premier premium silicone. Currently I've got a bunch of crap in it. I'm going to blow out in just a second. You prep the mold, most times by cleaning it out, blow all the crap out of it. They suggest that you avoid Smooth On Universal because it leaves a greasy film on the inside of these, and go with Ease Release 200 because it's closer to like a wax release agent. Now, you can also go without a release agent a couple times, but the reps that I spoke to don't really suggest it. They suggest that you have something in there that makes it easy for the resin to let go of the silicone. So prep the silicone. I personally, and this is just a personal thing, I personally like to have the cut in my silicone exactly 45 degrees from the cuts in the plastic, so that there's never a possibility of leaking out of the mold. This is what's called a mold and mother mold. So the mold inside is what holds the detail for your object. The mother mold holds the shape of the silicone so that when you pour the stuff in, especially if you're using flex foams or regular foams that have an expansion element to them, it doesn't deform the silicone by expanding. What we're going to do today is just a regular old smooth cast resin called Smooth Cast 20. Smooth Cast 320? Yeah, Smooth Cast 320, because it comes out in bone color, and this is supposed to be a bone knife. So I'm going to grab the 320.
And that just happens to be that color.
The Smooth Cast 320 is, like, it's sold as an off-white plastic.
Okay.
You can buy white, which is 300, off-white, which is 320. 325 is a tintable color, so you can add colors to 325, and it goes on and on and on and on. We can probably do another entire video just on all of the different types of smooth cast. Onyx is one that most people really, really like. It's got a, what they call the kick or the change from liquid to solid. It's got a quick changeover. In a second, I'm going to be able to hear the person who taught me how to do this scream somewhere.
Why is that?
Because you're never supposed to mix these in the same container. Like, you're supposed to pour part A, and then pour part B, and then pour them into yet something else. And I've got 2 shelves of dirty buckets that I have to sit down and clean, because I started doing that, and the sheer volume of dirty kitchenware, cookware, mixware, the sheer volume of dirty mixware, just, I was running out of room to walk around. So now I know how much material it takes to pour the handle, so I pour half of it in. When I'm ready to start mixing, I pour the other half in and just mix it and pour in 1 cup. And I can just hear him right now, like, that's terrible, you shouldn't do that. It takes...
The possibility is that you wouldn't get a perfect mix, right? Because you've got a certain amount of...
The odd thing is, the argument is that you won't get a perfect mix, because part A or part B will already be inside when you pour, and you might not get the...
And some might possibly be in the cup that you're pouring out of. And
but when I'm pouring A and B into separate cups and pouring them together, I can never get all of the material out of those cups. So I'm not certain that I'm actually, not like 15 and 9/8 ounces out of this one and 15 and a half ounces out of it. Some of them are, one agent is thicker than the other, so you can get more out of one than you can get out of the other. Okay. 8 ounces of B. Quick rule, I know I've said it on previous broadcasts, I'll say it again. The guy that trained me insisted that there be a rule in your shop, whether it's part A or part B, but one part always gets poured first. Always, 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 always gets poured first. And that's because I've poured part B. In my shop, part B is always the first thing you pour. So if I pour part B and it's on the counter and I get a phone call and I say to Rich, can you finish this for me? Rich knows, because it's the rule in the shop, that the liquid in that cup is part B. So he knows to pour in part A. The last thing you want to do is be mixing like 30 ounces of this stuff and pour in 15 ounces of part A and then ask somebody to finish it for you. And they're like, well, that kind of looks like part B, so I'll just pour in 15 ounces of part A and then sit there and stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and stir it. Or worse yet, pour it into a mold. There's an infinity orb sitting around here somewhere that I made 1.5 quarts of dragon skin to make a mold of, and I mixed. Dragon skin has a 16-hour cure time, so you can't physically see it cure. So I poured it all together, and it's poured the goop on top of the infinity orb, and I'm waiting for it to cure. I'm going to watch a movie, and I'll come back, and I'm sure it'll be, because I didn't put any Tyvek in it. Or not Tyvek, but the catalyst, the cure accelerator. I came back in like 6 hours, and it's still liquid. And that stuff's like liquid silicone. The only way to get liquid silicone off is to clean it with 99% alcohol. Oh, it was a mess. You only have to do that one time, and you'll pay super close attention to what you're pouring together. Okay, so we've got 8 ounces of part B. Pour in 8 ounces of part A.
Is there a time factor with all of this?
So once you pour them together and you start mixing, you have, according to this, I think it's 3 minutes. Pot life is 3 minutes. Pot life means the amount of time that it can spend as liquid inside the pot. Important side note, for things like foams, if you want to pour it together, and I'm pouring it into the mold now, if you want to pour it together and be able to coat the entirety of the inside of the mold, you need all of that pot life. So you can't keep it, like my Flex Foam 10 has a 60 or 70 second pot life. But I need to be able to mix both parts, pour it into the mold, and then roll it around in the mold so it covers everything on the outside of the mold before it starts to expand. So I actually only have closer to like 15 to 20 seconds to mix it, and then I need the rest of the time to roll it around inside the mold. And that it's really important to know that before you start mixing foams, because the resins, I have the full pot life. Like I can pour this in 15 seconds before it starts to kick, and it'll still kick just the same once it's inside the mold. I overmixed this. I think the 16 ounces was for the blade, not the handle. I've been away at San Diego Comic-Con all weekend. I'm kind of tired. Made this particular knife for Sideshow for Queen of the Dead. But when we mix these, one of the other really important things to do
is sadness in a cup right there.
Yeah. The other really important thing to do is to leave a little bit in the cup, because this particular mold, for example, I can see what the liquid is doing. But see that? See how fast that happened?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This one, I can see what happens. But in like the end mold, the mold that you want this particular thing to result in, you can't see inside it. So you have to have this out here to go, oh, okay, it started to kick. It should be solidified by whenever. Or
It's hot, guys.
It's a chemical reaction. It's going to be hot. So even this, like, it takes a little longer the thinner the material is, because, just like you noticed, heat helps this kick faster. The shop is supposed to be kept at a cool 72 degrees because that's the optimal temperature, and all the numbers on the side of the tanks, that's when those numbers actually work best. Warmer shops, the kick is faster. Colder shops, the kick is slower. So, like I said, I sculpted the handle of this first.
And it's bigger now. It looks like it's bigger.
What do you mean?
Expanded?
No, this doesn't expand. This has a zero expansion.
It just looks like there's more than there was. But
Yeah.
But okay. I know I did, but it just looked like it was more.
So the finalized cure time, all off-gassing and whatnot, is approximately 10 minutes. So I should realistically leave this alone for 10 full minutes. Probably not gonna. It's probably as soon as the top's cured, I'm probably gonna crack this open and pull it out. But that's also because there's a flange on the top of this that I want to trim off, and right now all of this is still kind of flexible while it cures. When it hits that 10-minute mark, it's like a rock. You can't, like, right now it'll bend. At the 10-minute mark, it'll just break. Give it just a little, or not. Okay. So, it's like a popsicle when I was 6. Remember those?
Yeah.
Those popsicles?
It's so warm, I want a popsicle.
Well, it's Vegas. So, like I said, right now, it's still kind of soft. So, I can pull this flange off of it without ruining the handle that's inside. And I can take an X-Acto knife and take this stuff off fairly easily. When it's solidified, this stuff is really difficult to cut. Okay, so that is the handle that I sculpted. Sculpted exactly like that. And that's how it pours as well. Trying to sculpt the handle and the knife blade on this would have made it so that you're constantly holding clay and it constantly becomes flexible and ridiculous. So now I just clean this up while it's still soft. And try not to bury the X-Acto knife in my chest while I do it. That would be the fastest way to get a ton of views on my channel.
Yeah, it's a totally different demographic there, though.
Yeah. Watch prop maker bury X-Acto knife in chest.
Every week,
you'll never believe what happens next.
Every week watching PropLogs is like watching NASCAR. They're just waiting.
Something horrible is going to happen. Okay, so having poured the first half, and just imagine that we've sculpted the clay knife on, we've made our mold, pulled the clay off, I'm going to go ahead and make another mechanical lock side to the tang, like they do in actual sword making and knife making, except they would start from the blade and work their way back. And I started with the handle. The handle had the most detail to it. Like there's a whole lot of divots and dots and just things and stuff in this. Need the drill. Gonna make a little bit of noise here. Put the holes through it so that the material that we pour into the mold actually goes through the holes and dries there, and you can't pull it back apart. Now, remember what I told you earlier about there being a seat? This side actually has a seat. You can see the flange where this sits on it, all the way around.
I think she's just saying.
Oh, okay, here. Okay. There's a flange on the edge all the way around here where this rested on the original. So we'll prep this one the same way we did the last one. Toss a little bit of the wax-based mold release in it.
On
a resin handle.
A resin handle, not the original clay.
Now, once I was done with the clay handle, I pulled it out of the mold, and then I tossed it to the side and made another piece of wood, and then just did exactly what we just did, where I poured it so that I'd get the tang at the end, and then carved
Did you reuse that clay?
Yeah, there's a whole shelf of badly deformed and badly abused originals over there. We can go into an entire video just on the type of sculpting clays, because Monster Clay makes a really nice hard and medium wax-based clay. Sculptex makes an oil-based clay that I prefer to work in for most really quick and dirty sculpts. The Monster Clay is much more of a hardened, long-term clay. Other really nice thing about resin is that you don't often have to throw out your cups because it all comes out. Yes, that's a huge amount of waste. Somewhere someone is upset about how much I just wasted. Same thing. 8 and 8. The other reason that I got into casting and molding is everybody looks at 3D printers as though they are the do-all, be-all answer to everything. Like you can 3D print something, and then it's amazing. I can just use the 3D print. 3D printers were originally what they call rapid prototype machines. So you could print out something and look at it and decide that that's the prototype you want to use, and then you go use a better method to make it. Really works well when it comes to sculpting, because I can 3D print out parts and pieces to make something like a Star-Lord helmet, and then take and cast those pieces and do it over and over and over again. And we've been recording this video for how long now? Like we're at, what, 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes? And now we just sit here and wait for it to kick.
Very nice.
We're at like 10, 12 minutes, probably a little longer than that. I can't get the first 10 layers on a 3D print printed in 10 minutes. But if oh no, this is also a problem, kids. When you overuse a mold, you can, in fact, leak. This is the first mold that I made for this particular piece. It's not happy.
So you've
right
already
now.
made, what, 10 knives out of this?
So the thing with sculpting and casting is that you want to make several to make sure that it's coming out clean, it looks right, etc.
Yep.
And this particular cast was never meant to be more than put the handle and the blade together. Because behind me on the shelf, you'll see a really tall cylinder right next to my files. That particular cylinder is the finished knife. Like that's the handle and the blade together. That's the one that I do the most casting out of because that's the whole thing. The pieces were just so that, oh, we're getting close. Nope, that's not going to be a thing. These were just so that I could put the two pieces together and then take another mold of the two of them together to make a single pour cast out of.
Yeah.
Because while this is quick, I mean, we're 10, 12 minutes into this and I'm almost done with the knife. That is simply pour it in, wait, take it out. I don't have to put a tang in it. I don't have to drill funny holes. And that's already solidifying. Yeah, so these molds themselves were really just like, quick, put everything together, get the solid piece. Does the piece look right? Do we want to, because again, two pieces, I can't see where the knife blade is in here, so now you've got to kind of shift it back and forth to make sure that the handle is straight on with the blade. You end up making one or two pours till you get one you really like. You take that one and you turn it into a full-size mold, where both pieces are together, you just pour something in, a little tip down here, and now you've got just a little bitty pour mark at the end, and you're done, you're done. So the inner eye will be able to look at my worktop and tell that this is a silicone cut mat from Joann Fabrics. You know why that is? Because silicone does not stick to silicone. Resin does not stick to silicone. Nothing sticks to silicone except silicone glue. Even then, it's questionable if it really sticks. So the best surface to have when you're doing desktop casting and molding is a silicone mat. And this one has seen 2 Comic-Cons. This has seen 2 Comic-Cons so far, and it will probably get retired. And I've got a nice new one over there that I will replace it with. But we'll give this a few more. No, we won't. Now we'll take this out because I want to be able to pull the flange off of this one too. So, see down here at the very, very bottom, this is where it leaked out of. Yep. Just that little bitty pinhole was enough to. Molds get dirty too. Believe it or not, you have to clean these things out to keep from staining your pores with crap. This one had some stuff in it. But you get the basic idea. Trim the mold off. Notice how it's not dead on. So, cooking showtime. So, the final that I made actually has it in dead, like it's deadlined in. So, this is one of the casts out of the big tube, and it is straight down the handle into the knife. And again, that's from casting these two together a couple of times to get the correct
so this one doesn't
orientation.
have wood inside.
No, this one is just solid resin. In fact, I've got a few of them. So that's how they go together. Next step is the reason that we use mold release, ease release 200 instead of universal release is because we want to be able to paint these. And resin is notoriously, it's, I won't say it's difficult to take paint, but you have to have the right kind of surface.
It looks like something that would magically just absorb all paint. Like
the surface is shiny,
yeah.
And shiny always has a hard time accepting paint. So I have some self-etching primer that'll actually etch the surface when I spray it on, so it'll stick to, and then a couple really good thick coats of clear coat, and it'll hold the paint colors. Can we get a break? Like break in time?
Yep.
If you need to change batteries, do that. I'm going to grab my finish knives so I don't have to go through painting.
Everything's on AC.
Okay.
But we can just hit stop on everything. Easier. You know, the nice thing is that you can cut, but keep the audio track going. And then, yeah.
Still running? We'll put these back on the shelf. Test one, test two. My solidified leftover goop. Trisha wants to take all these and turn them into art.
I think there's something there. There's something intriguing about it, like that.
Especially if your timing is good and you can roll it around just as it's kicking, so that you can get like weird shapes and shit. Can you toss those on the ground over there next to you? Continuity is not a thing. Screw desk continuity. So, huzzah, we're running? We're running. Awesome. So, like I was saying, the surface, if it's shiny, doesn't want to take paint.
Yep.
So you have to put a self-etching, or you scuff up the surface so that it's rough enough that will take paint.
A little sandpaper, steel wool or something? Or?
I would suggest steel wool first because it's not as harsh as taking sandpaper to it, but there are definitely going to be things that, especially if you make a really smooth, clean cast, if it's got a glass surface, you're going to have to really work it up in order to put paint on it. And the paint's going to make the rough go away because paint will be thick enough that it'll fill in all the cracks and you'll be right back to where you started. The finished, finalized knife came out looking like this. This is one of the 8 or 9 finished ones that I made, and we kind of chose from those 8 or 9 which one we wanted the queen to use. And it's a airbrush and spray paint mixture of painting techniques. Were I to do it again, I would probably use a little more rub and buff on this and a little less airbrushing, because the airbrushing is really telltale. Like, you can really, really tell this was airbrushed. Maybe with a little rub and buff I could take that edge off, but honestly, I was running up against, I had a week left to paint, so, and I had like 8 or 10 of them to paint, so this is what you get when I'm rushing. So yeah, the end result is covered 4 times with clear coat, with, what is it, Rust-Oleum crystal clear coat. And it's difficult to scratch now, but again, I would probably scuff up the surface a little bit more. I mean, this is a single use just for Comic-Con knife, and I can probably scratch some of the paint off with some hard work, but it accomplished the job. So that is the molding and casting, painting and detailing of the Queen's knife from San Diego Comic-Con 2017.
Cool. Hi guys. Was there any security concerns?
So since Phoenix this year, and I know I'm doing this on an open mic right now, so I really hope somebody from Phoenix is watching. Since Phoenix this year, everybody's paranoid about who can bring what into a convention. I went into the San Diego Comic-Con convention last weekend, all 4 days, in a PixelArts Props shirt, like a polo shirt, carrying 2 or 3 of these at a time. I walked through check-in, right past the guy at the front door, and right onto the con floor, and no one said boo to me.
And these actually...
You could actually hurt someone with these. In fact, the Hella sword back there,
yeah,
I carried that onto the floor, and no one said boo to me because I was in a polo shirt. Like, I really, as much as I don't think we need to check every crazy that walks onto the floor, I think we need to at least look at every crazy that walks onto the floor.
I think the rules generally in society is about how, like, what's the scale of the damage that you can do. Mm-hmm. And you can hurt, you can kill someone mm-hmm. with one of these daggers, but hopefully everyone's going to step up at that point.
I think the trend, or the hint to that I took away from it was that the security guards didn't care about a guy in a polo shirt carrying weapons. And that worries me, because if all they're worried about are people in costumes carrying weapons, the first time someone puts that together, then they come in to do some sort of mass injury thing, and they come in a polo shirt with a business logo on it. Like, as much as I don't want to be hassled at the door, I should be hassled at the door. Like, somebody should stop me and say, where are those going? Can I see your credentials? Oh, you're going to the floor. And then let me go. They didn't even stop to look at them.
The best form of computer infiltration, the
mm-hmm.
best form, the most effective form, the one that was responsible for the $150 million Target thing 2 years ago, the one for the Citibank, everything, it's always social engineering. You call someone, you send them an email, you pretend that you're someone respectable, so you have a polo shirt, you're like, I belong here. Mm-hmm. And you don't question people who belong here. That's just humans. Humans they struggle with it.
It makes me sad, because I said several times before Comic-Con, I've got a couple poured in 25-pound foam, 25-pound foam on the other side of the desk. And I poured those and took them with me in case the first day we walked onto the floor somebody said something about this, because the last thing I wanted to be was responsible for either A, the costume not having all the parts and pieces for Sideshow, and when it came to giving these out, we had discussed possibly giving them out, and I cast several in foam so that if giving them out was a thing they ended up wanting to do, we were going to be giving out bendy foam versions of this, because I didn't want to be the guy that gave out a knife at Comic-Con that somebody got stabbed with.
Yeah.
The fastest way to end my tenure as a prop maker for anybody. Like, it looks nice, it's accurate, but it also looks like a fish. Cut down the biggest tree in the forest with an earring. Yeah, but so there you go. That's how I was planning on not being the guy responsible for a murder at San Diego 2017. And even then, I found out afterwards that I didn't quite pour this correctly, because I poured this in the big mold.
Yeah.
I poured it in and then just let it expand.
Okay.
So this is 17-pound foam, but it's not proper 17-pound foam, or yeah, 25-pound. No, 17. This is not proper 17-pound foam because I should have poured it in, and then I should have put the mold on the desk and rolled the mold around so that this the foam coated the entirety of the, so that the bubbles inside are much more condensed. Like what makes this 17-pound foam is because it has such an expansion that once it covers everything and it starts to expand in on itself, it makes smaller and smaller bubbles. If I put it down here and just let it climb up, it's actually making bigger bubbles to climb the full distance of it. So the more you know, the more you learn.
Yeah.
So
in the fantasy sword community, where they make fancy knives like this, and when you hit someone, it counts against their arm, and they can't use their arm, whatever, things like that. I think they always put PVC in the middle. Just so
I could probably do that with this.
This is kind of small, but for them, they use broadswords and stuff.
Yeah, I could probably do that with this, but I feel like then it would just be right back to a weapon you could beat somebody with.
Well, that is the point, but they don't get too hurt.
Okay, so I'm going to hit the stop recording. We're done now. I'll talk to you guys later. All recordings are finished for today, I believe. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been a slice.